Yo, how you doing? I thought I'd make this quick video about managing expectations about your first developer job. So I've had my own fair share of experiences. I haven't been in my career too long. It's only been 4 to 5 years or so, if I remember correctly. I graduated back in 2021. So I couldn't get an internship the summer before when everyone was getting internships in the summer of their third to fourth year. So before going into their senior year of uni, people would most likely get summer internship. Some of them would even get like a year long internship, and then they would like skip a year and come back and all of that stuff, right? So I couldn't get an internship because of some scheduling mishap. And the company was like, "Yo, we expected you to see you in the meeting," and I'm like, "What kind of meeting? It's next week, isn't it?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we already identified our candidates because you were supposed to be there like this week." And I'm like, "Well, but the calendar anyway." It was a little bit of a mistake, maybe some sort of a calendar scheduling issue, but regardless. Um, so first of all, what are my thoughts and what could your expectations be regarding your first developer job? So first of all, what are the types of developer jobs? So there's an internship. That's the most basic, the most simple, the one that I can say the least about because I've not had one, but we've had an intern in our current company. So internship usually lasts either a summer or you can probably get a full year internship where if you take a year out of school, you get an internship. You work for a company as a depends. There are some unpaid internships, and I don't know whether you should do it unless you're properly like balling and you don't need the money. I feel like you should be compensated for your time because otherwise it's just exploitation at this point. Interns usually work in a company, work under a manager. They're one of the lower ranking developers. So it could be, we have a junior. Let's assume they're just a junior developer with probably even less responsibilities because usually it's not a really guaranteed position. So you don't have any guarantees that you'll be hired after the internship is done. So the company might not want to invest as much time and effort as they would into some other employee that they're looking at to keeping longer term. So it could be like you're not getting certain kind of privileges, you're not added to certain repos, or like you're not given them passwords and secrets. I've heard some horror stories about like one company had an intern that for whatever reason like the first week managed to like drop all of the databases which they didn't have any backups for, and they guess what, they fired the intern and then they sued the intern. I'm like, what? Sorry, what? First of all, how did you manage to get production access to this intern that probably it doesn't really know much about that specific tech stack or that database, or like how did that happen? And second of all, how do you not have a data backup? Like what? So, and how do you have audacity to even sue them? Be like, oh, this intern cost us, like, no. Yeah, like you're just stupid, man. Like anyway, so that company, I hope they're out of business, man. Like I don't wish bad upon anyone, but like, man, to sue an intern who's just wanting to learn, who comes into their career the first year, doesn't matter. Like they're literally just wanting to learn. They're coming into a supposed to be safe environment to learn. They are going to have a manager. They're going to have, senior engineers, mid-level engineers, anyone who has more experience than them, teaching them things. Like that's what you expect as an intern. You come into a company, the company gives everything you need. They give you your work laptop, they give you like the logins and all of that, and they're like, here you go, your software. Here's what languages we use. Here's this person if you want to contact them. Here's this mentor person. Like there's usually some sort of a big brother situation going on. Like here's this person who's gonna like onboard you and all that. How do these things happen? I have no idea. So yeah, be cautious, be careful. Like if you're an intern or planning to be one, first of all, try to make sure you're getting compensated for your time. I know the market's a bit tough right now. It's probably hard to say hard to like comment specifically, especially about the US market, because I don't reside in the US, and I've heard some horror stories about that. But anyway, I'll speak from the experiences that I have. So that's the first developer job type, internship. You can have an internship, and there's no guarantees you might get hired, but you'll get all the experience you need if the company actually set everything up to be proper, because again, horror stories. Second one is graduate scheme. So that's a I guess you could just merge this with the third one, which my third type is a junior position. So a graduate scheme, it could have something to do with your school already, or it could be one of those early application things. For example, I've joined through kind of a graduate scheme. So it was like I would apply like months in advance when I was still kind of in uni, like finishing up, and they're like, yeah, cool. So if you get your diploma, all of that, like you've gone through all the interviews, cool. Just come and join us, come work for us. Mind you, I actually joined during an annoying period, which was COVID, because we had the orientation from home, so we would sit in front of the laptops and just sit there for the whole day and watch it was not ideal, but now I work from home and I don't regret it, to be fair. I like working from home, but that's a topic by itself. So graduate schemes, like you're working with a company that could be either related to the uni, they would have some sort of an agreement, or just that the timelines of their hiring is aligning with people's graduations. That could also be considered a graduate scheme. You're graduating in, I don't know, May, June, maybe winter graduation, and their graduate intake, they even sometimes call it like that, a graduate intake, starts around the same time. So then you get hired on as a graduate. Things that to look out for graduate schemes, I'm not sure. The salary bands might be slightly different. If you go into a junior position, which just opened up in a company and they're not necessarily looking for an intern or a graduate, the salary bands could be slightly higher, because let's say potentially you've spent a year out in another company or whatever, you're still a junior, you're still a junior, but in comparison to a graduate who might even have more knowledge and information about experience, about programming and everything than the junior, it might still happen that the junior position offers a higher salary. So yeah, that's the third type that I was going to talk about, is the junior position. And I think all of these are kind of related regardless in some aspects. They differ in some others, but they're related in the aspects where you are given a period to learn on the job, pretty much. That's the very first kind of initial period, be it 3 months, 6 months. I mean, you're learning your whole career. That's the point of it. That's the point of software engineering. But like in the beginning, you're kind of given low expectations until you get up to speed. So you're getting these tasks, or you're getting kind of almost handheld at this point. You're getting supported. You're getting a lot of support in the beginning. So in these junior positions, graduate schemes, I mean, internship especially, you're literally guided through everything that you need to do, or you would assume so. Like I know that there are companies who are just, I guess, give you access to the production database, like the one I mentioned before, but that's something you should try and avoid. But you would never know before you get hired. So do kind of keep an eye out on what's happening during the interview period, because despite interviews being something that the company's interviewing you to see if you're a good fit, to see if if the culture fit matches, if like your skills match what you're saying, maybe your CV, like if you got your diploma, all that, you're also interviewing the company. Because if you end up in a company and you hate it every day, likelihood is there were some signs in the beginning. The likely story is that during the interview process, there were some sort of signs that were telling you that this is a bit iffy. The way they're phrasing questions, the way they're asking you about your overtimes, other stuff. Like, there could be some negative things when that. So do look out for it. But yeah, anyway, so those are the 3 developer type jobs, and I feel like, I call the video, expectations and stuff. So what could you expect? I mean, that's what it is. As an intern, you don't have any guarantees you'll be hired, and in tough times, sadly, interns are usually the first ones to go. I'm not necessarily saying you will be fired, but like, our company was going through a certain kind of rough patch, and the internship programs were the first ones to just get cut. And till this day, it's been a few years already, we don't have any interns. So people are asking, like, when's the internship program going to open, or is something going to be, created and stuff. But you don't know these kind of things is because, the company, as harsh as it may sound, they want to invest in personnel long term. And so they would probably rather open up more junior positions than have internships, because of the kind of specific status that an intern holds. It's like they need to still be, actually, there's the graduate apprenticeship, which is a 4th category as well, I guess. And some places do that, but that has to be a very specific, strict agreement between the university and the employer. In this case, like any kind of technology company that would hire you, because then the company needs to permit you still to have your time off alongside your paid time off, to where you could do your uni work, because you're still in uni technically. So you're finishing up your degree, all the meanwhile you're working for this company, so you're getting paid, but you also get the chance to finish your degree. And I know someone in our company that did that. But like I'm saying, internships are tough, because I've seen these videos on YouTube's where someone's like, oh, here's my like day in the life of an intern, and they're like walking around in New York City or something as an unpaid intern for like 3 months. I'm sorry, like, paying New York City rent, paying for MTA, paying your groceries, just literally doing anything. Like, you have to be rich to have the privilege to waste your time in a company. Because of what? Because of the tick box you can add onto your CV, or because of like the fact that they give you this immense experience that you couldn't get somewhere else? Cut the crap. So anyway, be cautious of that. Try to look for junior positions if you can. Sometimes companies nowadays that might even kind of get rid of the concept of a junior position. They would just call you a developer. It wouldn't be a senior developer, because at least in our company, we have the distinction between an intern and then developer and a senior developer, aka software engineer, I guess. So there might not necessarily be calling out this software developer position as a junior position, but there would be indications that this is more of an early career position. So something that doesn't require 5 years of experience. I've seen positions around here. In one of the cities, Rockstar was hiring a senior developer, a senior software engineer for C++ and C. And it was one of those kind of, you have to have had 20 years of experience working with this and that, and then very good grasp and understanding of legacy technologies and debugging. So, I mean, I don't know how much they were going to pay the guy, but if you're a C expert with 20 years of experience, there's probably a lot of legacy code kicking about. So when you're on your learning journey, do think about that as well. Like, don't just go straight for the first thing, aka like React and all of that. Anyway, that's been my thoughts about your first developer job. You might have other experiences. You might just be, employed by yourself. You might be freelance. You might be making websites for some people. But I feel like is actually invaluable to go into a company, even as a young graduate, to see how bigger projects are managed. Because what's beautiful about being in a situation where you're not the decision maker in the very beginning, in the early days of your career, you see how things are managed. You see the architecture decisions, you see the tech stack decisions, you see how, requests for comment documents are written, and like how architecture decision records are written. Like, sure, maybe some of these things are not necessarily required in like a startup environment when you're making a startup with 100 hours a week and more, and no one's really caring about the solutions they're implement. They're just choosing the best thing that works and putting it in there. But in a more long-term, sustainable, scalable solution, you do need to perform all of these processes, and then you learn about Scrum and Agile, and you also learn about you learn about Kanban and some other. I have my reservations towards each, but that's a topic for another day. So yeah, I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, and drop a little subscribe if you don't mind as well. I'll catch you next time.